Hey, it's Jeff again. Welcome to this video. Welcome to my channel. This is another video in my series Discovering Kelowna, where I've set myself the challenge of seeing all 203 Kelowna city parks in 1 year. So we're just over halfway through now. It's very exciting. As you can see, we're at the end of the winter, I hope. It could be more snow, we don't know. Anyway, we're in February. We're at that stage where everything's melting and nothing's growing, so it looks a little drab, but you know what, it's a beautiful sunny day and that makes everything beautiful. Today we are in Ellison, so technically behind me across the street is Ellison. The ground I'm standing on is part of the city of Kelowna, but when I say Ellison, I'm talking about this valley. So just like a lot of the land from here all the way north to Vernon, this was once a ranch owned by Price Ellison, who, among other things, was a politician. He was the MLA representing the Okanagan in Victoria about 100 years ago. And in the 19-teens, he was part of the McBride government. And like a lot of people in that government, he had scandals and conflict of interest, and they were all voted out in 1916. But he owned this land, and he owned a lot of the land to the north. If you know where Ellison Provincial Park is, up near Vernon, that was all part of the same land, right? So it's all named after him. And it is a very rural area. In the 70s, the city and the province, I guess, opened up a few little pockets of residential, but that's being actively discouraged because really there's a lot of precious agricultural land here, and also if you see those hillsides behind me, all along that east side of the valley, there's some rare and precious grassland ecosystems that also need to be protected from development. So it's a pretty nifty place, and I'm glad we're here to see some things today. We got about, I think, 3 parks that we're going to see, so come along with me and I'll show you what I find. So here we are at the first park of the day. This is the Ellison Dog Park. So another one of the city's dog parks, off-leash parks that they've set aside, fenced in. We've seen a few of them so far. I gotta say, this is one of the biggest. Obviously it's out of town in a rural area. It's a little out of the way, so they're able to have a nice big park. And I don't know if you can tell behind me, but there's a lot of kind of rolling hills and shrubs and trees and things in there. And if dogs are anything like me, that makes this place a lot more interesting and probably a lot more fun. So, you know, it's a little out of the way, but it's not that far from town. If you got a dog, I mean, I think you should try taking them here and see if they dig it, because it's pretty neat. We are along Old Vernon Road, which I assumed used to be the road to Vernon. I wonder how long ago. I'll have to look into that. There's a portable washroom here. There's a nice parking lot. So this is a good dog park. You know, obviously use whatever one you got close to you, but if you want to do something a little special, come out to this one, Ellison Dog Park. Hey, so here I am, my second park of the day. This is High Noon Park. So this is another recreational park devoted to baseball, or I guess in this case, fastball. This park, even though it is a city park, was actually built by the Kelowna Minor Fastball Association, I think with gaming revenue from the province. So it's maintained by the city now, I believe, but it's a good example of a community coming together and making sure that they have the sports resources that they want. As you can probably hear, there is an airport right behind me. So that's the main Kelowna airport, which occupies the west half of this valley, the Kelowna half, not completely, but you know, mostly. So once again, you know, this land that we're on, this park is just north of the Ellison Dog Park, and they're both along Old Vernon Road. And most of Old Vernon Road lies outside the Kelowna city boundaries. Most of the town of Ellison is governed by the regional district of the Central Okanagan, not the city of Kelowna. But these two large park parcels are part of the city, and to the west you can see the control tower, and that's the airport down there. So that's about where we are. Also down there, you can't see it, but along the border between these parks and the airport runs Mill Creek, and so that's just a little reference to our next park, which is going to be Mill Creek Regional Park. So nothing much happening here this day. It is the winter still, and in fact, the parking lot is gated off and things, so we were able to walk in. But not much happening here right now, but you can see it's a nice park and well fitted out, and it's going to be a great resource come springtime. Hey, so here I am in my third and final park of the day. This is, as promised, Mill Creek Regional Park. So this is a beautiful park. I'll tell you, I was looking forward to it. The regional parks always deliver, and I knew it was going to be a lovely nature walk, and it exactly is. And not only that, I didn't even realize there was this beautiful waterfall at the end of the trail. So that's a wonderful bonus. But this is, this is a great park. It's not a long walk. It's a relatively flat walk. It's a simple walk, but you get a wonderful nature bath. So if that's what you need, you can definitely come here. One thing I found interesting about this forest, I've done walks now on Knox Mountain and on other parts of the Kelowna in the forest, the Jean Road trails and things like that. And, it's mostly ponderosa pine trees, some lodgepole pine trees, some Douglas fir. But here, this path is all through the ravine. And what we saw is a lot of western red cedar, which I haven't really seen anywhere else. So I think that's because we're on the east side of the valley. And I think a lot of the weather comes up from the southwest. And when it hits these mountains, it dumps a lot of its precipitation. So I think that's why, because the western red cedars, they like it a little wetter. So this is a little bit of a different forest. If you're tired of pine forest, you can come here. And there are cedars and there's Douglas firs and different things. So it's super good. This waterfall may not be tall, but it is beautiful. And, Mill Creek is an important creek. We've seen it before. We saw it on our Capri Landmark walk. It winds all through the Parkinson Rec Park and all through that area. We saw it at Pacific Court Park and Mill Bridge, right, of course. And when we walked from City Park down to Pandosy Village, we saw the mouth of Mill Creek, and it's a very important creek. It used to, originally form the southern boundary of the city of Kelowna in the 1890s when Kelowna was laid out. So it's, apparently some people used to call it Kelowna Creek because it is a major creek. It's probably the second most important creek in this valley after, in the Kelowna area after Mission Creek. Sorry, Bellevue Creek. We'll see you later when we go down and explore the Mission. But Mill Creek is super important. And it's not just a beautiful creek that floods sometimes and annoys people and provides habitat. It is an important part of the water infrastructure here. Way up in the hills where Mill Creek starts is Postal Lake. And 100 years ago, they put a dam at the outflow. And now because of that dam up at Postal Lake, Mill Creek provides the water for Ellison and Glenmore. Because of course Glenmore was very dry, doesn't have a lot of water of its own. So it's a very important creek. It runs down through the Ellison area, past the airport, and around into Kelowna. So this park is great for so many reasons, and I knew I would love it, and I was right. So you should also come check out Mill Creek Regional Park. Hey, so that was our walk for today. Had a beautiful time in Ellison, at least in the city of Kelowna parts of Ellison. We saw 3 parks today. We saw the glorious Ellison Dog Park and Wonderland for dogs. We saw High Noon Park, which is a beautiful facility for fastball teams. And we saw the glorious Mill Creek Regional Park, where we had a lovely walk in the woods. You can still hear the creek behind me, and it's just a great ravine to have a nature bath in. So we're really happy we came. Even though there's still snow and frozen things, we really enjoyed seeing what there was to see. And like I say, you never know what you're going to find when you go out for a walk. You might think, oh, it's going to be bad. It's February, it's snow everywhere, nothing looks good. But we saw some really interesting patterns made by wind and melting, patterns in the ice. And you know, we saw hawks, and we heard ravens, and we saw magpies, and we saw nifty ice shelves on the creek as it melted, and all these processes, you know, they're very ephemeral, and if you don't go out different times of year, you don't see that kind of stuff. So we're really happy we came. And anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I inspired you to go for a walk. If you liked it, you know, hit the like button, hit the bell if you want to find out when I put out new videos. I do them every Friday. And feel free to subscribe to my channel. I got lots of other videos about other places I've gone for walks. I'm going to go for a lot more walks. So I hope to have you along. And meanwhile, this is Jeff. I'll see you next Friday.